In the first match of the night, which is going to be held on the Mountain Dew pre-show, I can't remember, the kickoff, that's what they always call that deal. It's going to be a New Day going up against Gold and Stardust. These guys have been feuding back and forth for the last couple of weeks, but started up with the tag team turmoil to find the new #1 contender for the WWE Tag Team Championships. A New Day, a gimmick that was sort of started before SummerSlam this year, that didn't debut until just a few weeks ago. Basically, it was Xavier Woods gathering together his fellow brothers, Biggie Langston and Kofi Kingston. Basically, it looked like Xavier Woods was going to be some sort of a Malcolm X sort of leader, turning Kofi Kingston heel. Finally, Biggie Langston, I guess going back to the days of him following around AJ and helping Dolph Ziggler out and being involved in some tag matches and things like that. Kofi Kingston was a guy that really needed that heel turn. He's been sort of the rubber band man is something that I've referred to him in the past. Basically, Kofi can, spark a match just about any time with his athletic ability. I really don't like his Royal Rumble spots, but some people out there really, really do. To me, it just seems like, what's next? I don't really know what he can do to top his other one. But I can't really think of any of them that have really happened that have really stood out to me. Biggie Langston, I thought when this guy debuted, if you go back to a year ago, to Raws and SmackDown, Biggie Langston was involved in the main event slot of these matches that were going down on Raw and SmackDown. He was involved in a group of matches going up against The Shield, tag teaming with John Cena and CM Punk. None other than the #1 and #2 names in the company. Looked like the future was going to be really bright for Biggie Langston. Soon he won the Intercontinental Championship, if he hadn't already had it at that point. And nothing good happened from that. Much like a lot of the guys that hold the Intercontinental or the United States Championship. You get a few wins here and there, and next thing you know, they're using the championship as sort of an excuse to sort of, just make you lose here on Raw. We'll let you lose here on SmackDown, and next thing you know, you haven't won a match or you haven't really progressed in a feud in the last 2 months. And that was Biggie Langston. I remember cheering when he actually lost the Intercontinental Championship, saying, all right, finally we can move on from here, and finally we can pick up and have a new day. Oh, well, I didn't even mean to do it that one. But basically, Biggie Langston is a guy that I'm really a big fan of. I'm hoping that someday soon he will become a World Heavyweight Champion. I guess they don't have the World Heavyweight Championship anymore. It's the WWE. Or I don't even know what the new name of that new title is. But it's just one of those things that, when I talked about last year's TLC, basically with, Randy Orton and John Cena going out there and unifying the belt, that it really hurt a lot of guys. Sheamus is another guy that's out there. I know that Sheamus is out with an injury right now. He wasn't able to compete on Team Cena and be a part of the Survivor Series, and we haven't seen him since. He's quietly been gone. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you wouldn't have known he had the surgery. But Sheamus was the guy that, looked at as one of the biggest guys in the company because he held the World Heavyweight Championship. That belt goes away. Sheamus, has held the United States Championship for a little bit before losing it to Rusev. But nothing really came out of him having that belt. It just wasn't anything. At least when you hold, the World Heavyweight Championship, you have the prestige and you have the lineage of like Harley Race, Terry Funk, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. You're sort of linked in with those guys. And without that belt, no matter what feud you put those guys in, I'm always sort of going to look at them as, it is what it is. I know that it's not supposed to be that the belt makes the champion. It's supposed to be the champion makes the belt. But just if Biggie Langston could have captured that belt, people would have understood that this is a guy meant for big things in WWE, and it's going to come. Xavier Woods was the guy that I think most people will always link him to his time in TNA. He did spend a lot of time in WWE developmental. There's some people who say he's only been brought up to the main roster mainly to show off the fact that he has a PhD, that he is real smart, that, all wrestlers aren't stupid. It's sort of a PR move. I think Xavier Woods, Consequences Creed, whatever you want to call him, has a whole lot of talent. I really liked him in TNA. Of course, the X Division never really got the light that they should have. The guy can wrestle, and if these three guys stay together and WWE, puts priority on the tag team division, of course, having a pay-per-view with 2 tag team matches. I think this really could work. They're going to have to start getting some wins, because basically with these guys having their Monday Night Raw debut during the tag team turmoil and not being able to win the whole deal, I know that they set up this match for the pay-per-view because of it. I think a lot of people were thinking they were a slam dunk. If there was legalized gambling in wrestling, they would have bet on the New Day to be the #1 contenders going up against Miz and Mizdow at the pay-per-view. But instead, they fell, losing to Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, which was a good tag team. But the show opened up with them wrestling against the Dust Brothers. They were able to get the sort of upset victory over the previous champions. I always think of Stardust and Goldust as being one-time tag champions, but I guess there are 2 times. It was Cody Rhodes, and I know some people always sort of play off the gimmick that Stardust isn't Cody, but fucking who you kidding? It's the same guy. But it was Stardust and Goldust out there, and New Day was able to get the win over them. Once they got the win, they were celebrating their victory. Stardust and Goldust took a cheap shot on Xavier Woods, who was acting as the third man out, the manager of the deal. The one thing I think they could have done better with the tag team turmoil was basically with the New Day, when they all came down to the ring, they played evens and odds, which is sort of like a paper, rock, scissors sort of deal. And when they did that, it was able to see who was going to compete in the match. Kofi and Biggie got the win, so they were in the match. Xavier stood on the outside. I think what they should have done was switch partners to have a fresh man during that tag team turmoil, and it would have given them a fresh advantage during the whole deal. There's no rules that said they couldn't do that, since they were just announced as a New Day, and then basically their competitors didn't even know who they were competing against till they could get down there. I think that's just something that could spice this team up and make them a little bit more different. A whole lot of people are looking at something like the Freebirds going on with these guys, and moving in that new direction. But of course, they got the loss to Cesaro, and Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, a new team. But of course, then they got their win back on SmackDown, which was a good match there. But the Usos ended up winning that match on Monday Night Raw, making them the #1 contenders, moving on to having a match that we'll talk about in a little bit later. But that's going to be it. I don't see the advertisement, but I'm just going to call it the Mountain Dew Kickoff Pre-Show. Everybody run out and get your Kickstarters before TLC, so you can be drinking them during this match, and it'll get you all pumped up for the next 3 hours of wrestling that's going to go on. That's going to be it for this one. We'll see you back in the next segment, talking about the next match.